Hello, everyone. Welcome to another installment of our YouTube series in which we feature the work of our amazing faculty in the Department of Criminology and Criminal Justice. Today, I'm joined by two of our faculty members and associates. First, we have Professor Amber White, who is also the director of our Legal Studies program. How are you today?
Hi, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are when you're watching. I'm so happy to be here and I'm appreciative of the opportunity to share about what we do.
Excellent. And we also have Dr. Rashawn DeShay, who is an assistant professor in our department. How are you?
I am great, and I am also happy to be here, ready to talk.
Excellent. Well, Professor White, can you start? Tell us, please, just a little bit about your legal and work background, please.
Sure. I graduated undergrad from Texas Tech University, so I still technically bleed red and black. Go Raiders! I went to the SMU Dedman School of Law for law school. I've practiced law. I particularly practiced in family law, which I'll share a little bit more about in a little bit. Um, I worked for a series of groups and have now settled into a full-time role with the University of Texas at Arlington as the director of pre-law, as well as the legal studies program here on campus.
Excellent. Dr. DeShay, can you tell us about your background?
Sure. So I am in my fifth year here at UTA in the Department of Criminology and Criminal Justice. I attended undergrad. I got my bachelor's degree in the area at the University of North Texas. I then went to law school at LSU, Louisiana State University, Paul M. Hebert Law Center, and came back to Dallas to get my PhD in criminology at the University of Texas at Dallas. Um, I also have some experience practicing, which I can talk about later as well. And just I'm enjoying, being a part of the faculty here at UTA. I consider Dallas to be home. I moved here when I was 10, so being in the Dallas area is a great experience for me.
Excellent. Thank you. Both have the JD, and so for our students, one of the things that we could note is that the JD is besides being the terminal degree in law, it is also a very versatile degree, which would allow you to practice, to teach in the academy, a series of other things, sometimes perhaps several things even at once. So I want to ask, so why did you choose UTA, and do you miss being in practice as you work here at UTA?
Well, I'll take this one. I definitely enjoy my time here at UTA, and just to kind of give a little bit of background, I when I was in practice, as I mentioned, I served both Dallas and Fort Worth in family law as well as Arlington, and it was an incredible experience. I want to be honest, man, family law is full of drama. Anybody that will say otherwise just has never practiced family law. And some of it good, some of it bad, but never a dull moment. I will say that. Um, do I miss that thrill and that rush? Some days, but going back to what brought me to UTA, I believe it was Providence. I happened to be uh, looking for someone else for a different opportunity, and I stumbled upon the fact that there was an opening for directorship in the pre-law center, the newly founded pre-law center. And when I had my interview with my dean, who was well, she was assistant dean at the time. She's now dean of the College of Liberal Arts. She just laughed because she said everything about my resume fit perfectly with everything that they were looking for this role, and she was astonished at how much I'd actually done that was what they were looking for. And so I laid out my plan for where I saw this program going, and it was really a perfect fit. I have loved working with all the students. I mean, and people literally call me Mama White. I've told them not to, but they call me Mama White, and it's not because of anything overly maternal. It's more or less the spirit of family within the pre-law center that we have adopted. We are family, and once you are mine, you are always mine. There are, I would say, more than half of the students that come through the program, I still have in my phone that have messaged me and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know this is what I'm doing now." And I love the students. So definitely there are days when you kind of miss the thrill of the hunt and the thrill of the chase with regard to practice, but I haven't looked back. I absolutely love what it is that I do through the center and with these students, and helping to shepherd them to the next level. So you can't shake me here. I love it.
Excellent. What about you, Dr. DeShay?
Okay, so while I was attending law school, I decided that I wanted to continue to study crime, criminology, and so I decided while I was at law school that I was going to get a PhD. And even though I did that after my first year of grad school, I did take the bar exam so that I could be licensed to practice law in Texas, because it felt like a waste to go to law school and not take the bar and be licensed. And while I was in grad school, I decided I wanted to be a professor. So I started out at one of the Cal State universities, and I spent a couple of years there, but I wanted to be at a more research-oriented university like UTA. So a position opened up, and I applied, and I was very excited to come and be here. And though I'm not practicing now, I did get some experience while I was in grad school. I had a mentor who had formerly been a prosecutor who had started his own practice, and focused a lot on criminal defense work. So I had the opportunity to work on some federal drug trafficking cases, which were very interesting. Similar to what Professor White said about family law, criminal law can also be extremely interesting. Not always in a good way, but can also be extremely interesting. So that was a great opportunity for me. And it also kind of gives me the opportunity to include that into my classes when I teach. But again, the reason why I came to UTA was to have an opportunity to be at a more research-oriented university. And even though I'm not practicing, I do miss some of the things that I used to do. I used to really love to do legal research and writing for some reason, and was really into drafting appellate briefs and motions and things of that nature. And so again, while I'm not doing that now, I have, sometimes left open the opportunity or the idea that maybe that's something I could try to integrate into my career at UTA down the line, be it with teaching classes, or working on wrongful conviction cases or something of that nature. So trying to find a way to tie my legal education and my law license into what we're doing here at UTA.
Excellent. And for our students, I'll just note that to have both the JD and the PhD is fairly uncommon, and represents the highest level of training, both in law and in the social sciences. So we're very pleased to have Dr. DeShay as a member of our team. I want to follow up on something Dr. DeShay said, and so I'll go to you first for this one. What was your preferred area of law? And how does that experience and your knowledge in that area impact the classes that you teach?
Okay, so it was criminal law. I majored in criminal justice in undergrad, and then when I got to law school, took a class that I really liked that was based on criminal law. And then so every elective that I took, I tried to take as many as I could that were related to criminal law. And so again, with the mentor that I had, I got to work on a number of criminal cases, mostly federal, but I've also had the chance to second chair a Dallas County drug case, which was interesting. Got to help pick a jury and all of that. And so it allows me to include that in examples that I discuss. One of the classes that I teach is the American judicial system. And so, of course, we talk about criminal courts in that particular class and different things that come up. And so it allows me to bring some examples in from my experience. For example, sometimes we talk about plea bargaining. And some people, have negative or positive views about plea bargaining and about defense attorneys who get their clients to plead guilty. And I use an example of a case that I worked on and to demonstrate that sometimes that's just the best outcome for your client. And sometimes a guilty plea is actually a win for your client. And so I get to use, again, actual cases that I worked on to demonstrate to them why, in that particular instance, it was just best for our client to take a guilty plea, right? And so they can kind of see it and understand it when you use those real life experiences. And then just from a research perspective, I'm also interested in wrongful convictions. And so I just had the opportunity this past summer to teach a graduate class, a special topics class on wrongful convictions. And so it gave me the opportunity to tie in some of my research interests with and some of my hopefully potentially future work in terms of the law, again, trying to maybe incorporate that into a course or something here at UTA to bring that to graduate students and to discuss that particular topic. And they seem to respond really well. So hopefully I'll get a chance to teach that again. But it gives me, again, the opportunity to bring in my experience from practicing, but also my research interests into the classroom and incorporate that into the way I teach and share information with students.
Professor White, which is your favorite area, and how do you use that knowledge in your classes?
So in my time in practice, as I mentioned, family law was the area that I specialized in for my private practice. I did get the chance to, work in a few other types of cases like mortgage-backed securities, litigation. If anybody remembers, I feel like our students, some of them may be a little young to remember living through the economic downturn of 2007. But if you all remember, it was when the banks failed. And so a lot of the mortgage-backed securities litigation cases were trying to figure out, okay, who was at fault, which of the banks should have kind of caught some of this ahead of time and maybe saved the country from collapse. So those are very, very interesting cases. And again, I mentioned before, I love the thrill of the hunt. So the research of investigating, where to find the smoking gun, who might know a little bit more information, the discovery process related to that. I loved that. And so, when we talk about how I've applied that in the courses that I teach, and I guess it'll help if I share some of the courses that I teach. So I have taught internship courses, moot court. I currently teach mock trial, American judicial systems, and then constitutional issues in criminal justice. I've taught that before, and I'll teach that again next semester. As far as, how to integrate some of these things, I think a lot of the due process rights involved when it comes to making the convictions or making the arrests or making the charges, all of that comes into play, especially when we talk about discovery. I integrate that into my lectures quite seamlessly, and the students enjoy it because I bring in real cases and not just Supreme Court opinions that govern the matter. We talk about real cases that are happening either now or happened in the last 2 to 3 years that closely examine those issues. And particularly with regard to mock trial, Rashawn and I, in our other lives, should have gone into practice together because she said she just adored the research and writing, whereas I just adored being in the courtroom, as evidenced by, where I am now. I loved being in front of the judge. I loved, when I got the chance to be in front of a jury, examining witnesses, pulling out the truth in that way. So teaching mock trial allows me to flex those muscles as well as to show students how they can not only flex those muscles if they're innately there, or if they are not innately there, which happens to be the case a lot of the time. I have students that, have never done public speaking before, or know that they want to be a lawyer, but just are really afraid of, hearing their own voices. I help students find their voice, because in finding your own voice, you're able to articulate points on behalf of someone else. A lot of people that enter the field want to be the voice for the voiceless. So finding your own voice is kind of step one. And I've been able to successfully integrate lessons in that regard in my classes that I've taught.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm really pleased that you both are involved in both the undergraduate and the graduate offerings that we have in law and legal studies. And for students that might be interested in our program, we do have a minor in law and legal studies that you can pursue. Obviously, we would prefer that you major in criminology and criminal justice, but if you major in another field, such as political science, we will absolutely take you as well in the minor. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. There are a number of criminal justice courses in the minor, actually. So if you were curious about another area, but still wanted to get that excellent sampling of courses that the Criminal Justice Department has to offer, that is also an option. We prefer you be a major, please be a major, but yeah, it's not required. There's a lot of courses that you can still take.
Excellent. I want to move on now, and I'll stay with you, Professor White. Can you tell us about the current state of legal education and some of the things that you are teaching our students in that regard?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. I think a lot of people are under the impression that the legal community and the profession in general is suffering as a result of what's going on in our world and with COVID. And while there have been devastating effects, to be sure, on our economy, on our planet, really, as a result of what's happening with this pandemic, make no mistake about it, the level of social injustices that are happening in our country, the protests in the United States and around the world, that's social unrest. Who comes to the rescue in instances of social unrest? Lawyers. They are, in fact, at the forefront of the changes that we are seeing now and are hoping to continue to see. And as a result, the industry essentially is thriving, for lack of a better term. So anybody that's nervous or hesitant about going into the field right now is actually the time. There is a need for more voices, for more activists, for more advocates to speak out on behalf of the needs of the community and the needs of the people. With regard to legal education, I'm in regular communication with both law school admissions professionals and other pre-law advisors around the country. And we are definitely seeing a strong uptick in the number of students taking the law school admissions test, which is the primary test needed to get into law school. So I definitely think that this is a great time to enter the field, a great time to begin legal education. There are we just had a program where Harvard came to speak to our students. We have a new Harvard law student that's a UTA student, or UTA alum, excuse me, that's there right now. So any students looking to jump into the field, now is the time. And through the Pre-Law Center, which once again I do direct, we give you the tools that you need to make that next step. But yeah, the industry is thriving, Dr. Curley, and we need more students. We need more students.
That is good news too. That's good news for sure. Dr. DeShay, what would you add to that?
I agree. I echo what Professor White said, particularly as it relates to the power that the law has to bring about change. And there are so many young people who are encouraged and engaged and want to find a way to be a part of bringing about that change. And I agree that law school is an amazing opportunity to get the skill set that you need to help be a part of that. And even if you didn't go on to practice law and maybe went into politics or, you know, something else along those lines, because we do see a lot of politicians who have law degrees, that could still be, you know, a way for you to kind of get that foundation to be a part of what is going on. And I mean, I've talked to friends who are just kind of learning or kind of realizing some of the things that are going on in this country, and are realizing again the impact that law has on what's going on. And so I agree and would encourage anyone who's interested in being a part of this change to explore the idea, the opportunity to attend law school, again, to practice law or to find something else post law school, to be a part of this powerful change so we can keep the momentum going.
Yeah, thank you. And just to follow up on that, Professor White, I'm sure you have many students, as we all do, that will say, I'm thinking about going to law school, and they want your advice. What could you share with them based on your own experience?
So my personal experience is very interesting. I went into it absolutely knowing what type of lawyer that I was going to be, and could have been more wrong, right? So I think when we talk about, and again, based on my own personal experience, I would tell people, have an open mind through several things. First, you know, the lawyer that you think you will be may not be the lawyer that you will be. You will almost always certainly be a greater attorney than you ever thought possible, right? But that's through the power of an open mind. You might go in thinking, oh my goodness, I want to be a family law attorney, and come out being the next Johnny Cochran in criminal law, right? Or you might go in thinking, I want to be you know, a wills and estates lawyer, and come out, you know, in mergers and acquisitions. You never really know. But so the power of an open mind means the power of limitless potential. So I definitely encourage students to really think about the career and think, you know, is this something that you want to do generally? And then go enter it with a very, very open mind, and allow the coursework and the experience to direct you into where you're actually meant to be. And really the JD is all powerful. I mean, Dr. DeShay is a perfect example of the fact that you can get that JD and you can get a PhD. I have students that come to me and say, you know, I can't decide if I want to be a doctor or a lawyer, or if I want to, you know, represent medical malpractice. You know, guess what, Dr. Curley? We have had JD MDs. That is a thing. You know, if you want to go and get a master's degree, and you can't decide if I want the master's or go to law school, guess what? You can do both. There's a dual degree, and you know, you can get a JD and MBA or JD MA in criminal justice at the same time. Whatever it is that you want to do. So again, having an open mind at the outset is really the recipe for success, and that's one thing that I think is very important. I like to try and impart that on my students.
That is great. So it would be fairly uncommon, right, to be in law school and just have that one moment of epiphany where you say, this is my favorite area and I want to practice this for the rest of my life. If going to law school is going to expose you to all sorts of different areas, and some you like more than others. Some you might decide, I definitely do not want to do that, which kind of directs you toward things that you might be open to, right? So yeah, there may not be that one epiphanous moment, but you're open to all these opportunities, right? That's
exactly.
Excellent. That's excellent.
Exactly.
Well, thank you both very much. I want to give you both a chance to provide some concluding comments to our current students, our potential students, about potentially going into law or coming into UTA in our Department of Criminology or Criminal Justice. What message could you share? Dr. DeShay, will you go first?
Sure. I would say that coming to UTA and majoring in criminology and criminal justice provides students a great opportunity to go on and do a number of things. For those who want to work in the criminal justice system, which could be policing, corrections, right, or going on to law school and practicing law. You, by being a student here at UTA, you get exposed to a number of great faculty members who are doing very interesting and important research, who have experience in the field in terms of, practicing law or being a probation or parole officer, working in law enforcement. And so and then also in forensics, which is a very popular topic these days. And so by coming to UTA, again, you get exposed, and majoring in criminology and criminal justice, you get exposed to a number of interesting topics. Again, faculty doing wonderful things, different classes that you can take that could help expose you to different things that you want to do, and may give you insight into what you, just as going to law school, can do, what you do or don't want to do once you finish. So I would just say to definitely consider coming to UTA and maybe engaging with the pre-law society, and just trying to kind of take advantage of every opportunity that you have while you're here, including internships, moot court, mock trial. Just try to soak up as many opportunities as you can to not only get experience, but again, to also kind of help you decide what you may, find that you love and want to do once you leave. And then once you leave, right, be an active alum and come back and share what you're doing with current UTA students. And provide an example of what a criminology and criminal justice degree from UTA can provide.
Excellent, thank you. Professor White?
How do I follow that? Oh my goodness. Well, I really do think she said it all, but the only thing I will add is, coming to UTA, coming to criminology and criminal justice, coming to pre-law, it's coming to family. I feel like, we don't just have a job where we collect a check and teach you and go home and that's that. We are involved, we're invested. Your future is our success, right? So, when you come, you're getting a group of people, not just instructors, not just faculty, but you're getting a group of people that are actually going to care what happens to you. You're going to get a group of people where, for whatever reason, you don't show up to class, you're getting an email or something. We're going to say, hey, where were you? We missed you, right? And I can definitely say that my colleagues in the department all share that feeling about their students. We don't baby you, but we do love you like you were our babies, okay? I also will second what Dr. DeShay said with regard to, exposure. Come to UTA for exposure. You may have an idea of what you want to do, but let's investigate that further. Let's see, if you think you want to be a lawyer, pop into mock trial and see what it's actually like to be a lawyer. It's a criminal justice class that I think really favors experience just over information. I think that there are tons of opportunities in the department that are just like that favor giving you an experience over just giving you information. So with that, I say please join us. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us directly. We will give you about any questions that you have about the industry, about classes, industry and classes. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you at UTA very soon.
Excellent, thank you. So for students that might be interested in joining us at UTA, you can go to www.uta.edu/criminology. And from there, you can see a list of all of our programs and our faculty. If you go to the faculty list, you will find Dr. DeShay, you will find Professor White, and you will find me as well. And if you want to click on the link to send us an email, please do that. Please also feel free to click on our faculty profiles and read about our research and our teaching and our service here at UTA, and that'll be a great way to learn more. We also have dedicated academic advisors, and so if you go to our staff list, you can see our 2 undergraduate advisors, as well as our graduate director. If you ever have any questions about those programs, you can contact those individuals directly. So thank you again to Dr. DeShay and Professor White for joining us. And this is a great series. I'm very glad that you all are part of our team. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And at the end of these videos, we always like to say, go Mavs.
Go Mavs.
Go Mavs.
Thanks.